Hi, this is Asim.
This is Sujoy.
This is Amrita.
And you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast about the three main Khans of the Hindi film industry.
Aamir,
Salman,
and Shahrukh.
Hi, you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast regular feed. Thank you so much for your support over the years. We now have a Patreon channel with bonus content and exclusive merch for those of you who would like to support us. Every dollar goes towards creating more and better content. Visit us at patreon.com/Khandaan podcast.
Hi and welcome to a new episode of Khandaan Podcast. My name is Asim Bernie and Asim Journey. Why am I calling myself Asim Journey? Life is a journey. My name is Bernie.
Salman Khan writing poetry.
Oh God. I'm joined by my co-host Sujoy.
Yes.
Sujoy. And we're joined by our top friend Beth. Top friend is back. Hey Beth.
Up friends unite.
Amrita could not join us this week again. Everybody on the internet send her a big hug. But she will be back soon, inshallah. But Beth, thank you for joining us. Thank you for filling in.
I am always happy to be here, whether Amrita is here or not. That's how much I like it. Like, I don't even need her here. I'll be your substitute, Amrita.
And now we need to call you half of the filmy ladies, right, Beth? That's your official title now?
That's right. That's the official. Yeah, I'm half of a new-ish podcast with another of your frequent guests, Pitu Sultan. She, back in the spring said, I want to do a podcast. I need something fun to do. And I said, that sounds great. So we're on episode 12 or something like that. Filmy ladies, and we're having a lot of fun, and I'm sure we'll get you on sooner or later. We've had Amrita on, which I know she's mentioned here. And yeah, we're just having a lot of fun. And mostly we try to look at films that have something interesting to say about women or with women, but not solely, because we've already had one whole episode devoted to Shahrukh.
Yeah.
So, we're not too picky.
I was just watching your episode and it's a video podcast, right? So it's available on YouTube too?
Yeah, it's on YouTube and then Apple and Spotify.
Yeah,
and all
so
that.
I was watching your Vamps episode. I think that's the most recent one, right? It was again a lot of fun.
Yes, yeah.
I could have guessed which Vamp P2 was before you even started that game. I knew 100%.
Of course she was.
So you've not seen it, right?
No, not that episode.
Yeah.
No.
So which Vamp do you think P2 is? So which were the options? Beth, was Helen?
Oh, you could choose any, but yeah, we did tend to go for the big names. So I asked her what vamp, which vamp are you? Which actress? Who do you think she said?
Bindu.
Yes.
On the money.
Correct.
On the money.
Because I while I was watching Monica, Oh My Darling, after that, I just listened to the Kati Patang song, Mera Naam Hai Shabnam, and that has Bindu, right? And I was like, yeah, this is a very Pitu song, just like minutes ago. That's the first memory. From the top of my head, I just Bindu, for sure.
we know her so well, and we're so happy that you guys have come together to do Filmy Ladies. I've not been able to watch all episodes, but the ones I've watched I've really enjoyed, so I'm glad you guys are doing it.
We had this plan that we were going to try to aim for 25 minutes or half an hour per episode.
Yeah.
And every single one of them is blowing right past that.
That's the same Khandaan problem we keep having, right? Like everybody recommends us, could you do shorter episodes? And we're full motive. We'll try. And then it's 90 minutes.
I mean, you don't really count the time when you're having fun hanging out with good friends, right?
That's the reason. That's exactly the reason.
No, I actually set a timer for 25 minutes and then I put it in the chat when we hit it and we're like, nah, just keep going.
Yeah. But I especially enjoyed the Jane Austen episode.
That was fun.
Was that the one with Amrita? Or
Yeah.
It was right.
Yeah.
Good. No, I was wondering if with the name Filmy Ladies we would be excluded, me and Sujoy, so I'm happy to hear that we will be invited.
No, you will certainly come on. We'll have to find something something that has a nice overlap of all of our interests. But, with thousands of movies to choose from, that should not be hard.
Right. So two things I wanted to talk about. First of all, I wanted to thank Paresh last episode for coming on the Three Idiots podcast. I know he got a bit of pushback, so I'm sorry. I thought, people would be nicer, but, Paresh is like like a strong cheese. He's an acquired flavor, It takes a while, but we love him, and thanks for coming on. I thought we had a great discussion, although we didn't all agree, but I thought it was nice to have him on for sure. The second thing I wanted to talk about, we're doing like a season this episode. Like these next few months, we're going to kind of get into a season of remakes. So we're going to be watching the original movie, and then we're going to watch the Khan version of it. And last week, so this episode is kind of the start. Beth is on. We're doing the original Dawn, Amitabh's 1978. It's 78, right? That movie?
Yeah.
Dawn.
Yeah.
And then next episode, we're going to be doing Shahrukh's version. And to whet the appetite, we uploaded an old episode of Dawn 2 that we did last week because we couldn't record. So that's kind of what we're doing. And then we're going to do a Salman movie that's a remake. And then we're going to do an Aamir movie. That's a remake. And then after that, it's going to be kind of the end of the year. So we're probably going to be doing our best of episode. And probably Beth will ask you and loop you in to give some contribution there. Let's see how it goes. Yeah. Let's get into the stuff we've been watching a little bit. 2 new trailers or teasers dropped, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, people have been waiting. We have been waiting. We need to talk about Pathan, right? That's the first one.
क्या जानते हो तुम पठान के बारे में?
3 साल से उसकी कोई खबर नहीं है। अपने लास्ट मिशन में वो पकड़ा गया। सुना है बहुत टॉर्चर किया उसे। पता नहीं कि पठान मर गया है या
जिंदा है।
Let's go with Beth. Actually, Beth, I haven't even heard your thoughts on Pathan's teaser.
This is something that I wouldn't care about if Shahrukh wasn't in it. But that's a huge caveat, as we all know. So I've watched it a couple of times. I think it will be totally fun. This is a different version of him than we've seen before, and I love it when he does something we haven't seen him do before. So I'm definitely in. But yeah, if this were basically anyone else in his role, I might go watch it, but I wouldn't care particularly.
Yeah.
So this is like strong not for Beth vibes. And that's fine.
And Beth famously has a mini Shahrukh.
Yeah.
I do. He's actually right. He's right here helping record. So yeah, he is slightly more excited about it than I am.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But just also like Beth, like seeing Shahrukh back on screen, how does that feel after
Yes, that does feel really, really exciting because it's been so long. And obviously COVID has thrown off what time means and everything. So I would have to really stop and think about when I last saw him in the big screen. Yeah. But I will definitely be ready. It's on my calendar. I'm gathering people to go. Like it'll be fun. And it's always fun to see a big new release on the big screen anyway. Like I'm still enough of a bumpkin who loves to go to the movies that I really love the cinema experience. And I think this will bring a good crowd, even where I live. And it'll be a lot of fun.
I saw Black Panther Wakanda Forever yesterday. And it was like, I've not been in a truly packed audience since, I don't even remember, like it's been years, like every seat was sold out. And it was like, on the one hand, I'm uncomfortable because, COVID has, traumatized me to be around people. But on the other hand, it does give you that movie magic that you haven't, that feeling hasn't been there in ages, so yeah. So I hope Pathan does the same. Let's see. Sujoy, what about you? You're super excited for Pathan.
I'm super excited. I've been watching this trailer on repeat just to pump me up for this episode. It really works as like an adrenaline shot. I think the trailer is really cut well. And I think whatever, expectations you had from a movie that is supposedly going to be the return vehicle of Shahrukh Khan back into the movies, in Yash Raj movie, into the spy universe, supposedly sharing screen space with Bhai and Hrithik from War or Tiger. And Kabir. yeah, all of those expectations, I think the trailer delivered on it. It's cut really well. The music is bang on. Like, it sort of has that, if you remember the first trailer of Blue when it came out, the movie that tanked with Sanjay Dutt and Zayed Khan and
Wow, what a comparison.
but that trailer had that energy as well, right? Yeah. And it was a banger trailer and sort of, reminded me of that. But I'm so excited to see like that initial bit where they have that action scene. Looks like the first action scene where we get his reveal as such, and the way it's framed, the action scene that is shot with the sharp edits and the gun and him saying, Tiger, Pathan mar gaya, yeah, and then he says Zinda hai. Yeah. Oh, like CT Mar, Paisa Vasool, all of that. It's like really, really great.
Yeah. It's just so good to see him back on screen. Yeah. Like I get emotional. Yeah. Just the thought of it makes me emotional. We really missed him. And so happy to be back. I love that the trailer gives us a meta kind of thing that we haven't seen him for 3 years or 4 years, and was he almost dead? But he's coming back. It's kind of talking about his career. Like a lot of people have kind of just written him off after the last few movies flopped, and I think even he kind of went back into Mannat and was kind of licking his wounds a little bit, like figuring out what he wants to do. And I think I like the fact that he seems to have not listened to anybody and not gone into streaming, not made like a thoughtful movie with Tabbo, like that kind of thing. Yeah. He's just like, Yash Raj, action, get me Deepika, I'm going to get abs, and that's what you're getting, and we're all excited, I love it.
I was just going to say, I like how none of us have mentioned that John Abraham is also
I was just
in this
about
movie. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I think that's inspired casting, though, because I think where John's career is going, he's back to where it started with Dhoom in the Yash Raj movie. And also, like, I've always said this when it comes to action movies like this, the hero is only going to be as badass as how strong the villain is. Yeah. And John is a towering presence over Shahrukh. So it will be interesting to see that dynamic of how a shorter hero can beat up John in a way. So that will be interesting. And I think John's career is much better suited for roles like this than whatever he's been doing for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, is he the new... Because there was that little spell where Arjun Rampal was doing this with Shahrukh, and he's just gone, apparently. But this oddly made me miss Arjun Rampal, which is not a feeling I ever thought I would have. But I mean, they're kind of the same guy, so it doesn't really matter.
I'll call my contacts at YRF to give Arjun a cameo in this. Jeff, is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think he's like, his physicality is what he's bringing, and I think he's probably going to make a good villain. And also, I want to shout out whoever Shahrukh's stunt double is, because that high kick that he's delivering is amazing. And I mean, Shahrukh is almost bordering 60. There's no level of Pilates that can get your head kick that high. So whoever that is, love it, and especially because Shahrukh has that long floppy hair, so it can really hide the face of the body double. So well done on that. Deepika looks amazing. I don't know what kind of role she'll be having, but again, also just happy to see Deepika in a kind of a glam kind of role, I'm like,
but not just glam. I think, like, from the looks of it, with that sleek hair, I think she looks like in a femme fatale kind of a role who has higher stakes in the movie rather than just being, eye candy as such in movies like this.
I don't think Shahrukh would get her as eye candy necessarily, and I don't think Deepika is at the state in her career where she would take an eye candy role. Yeah. But I think it's what we had hoped for her in the XXX movie, right? And I think they're probably delivering it here. I do have to say, still, I'm still not sold on Siddharth Anand as a director. I think War was great. I had a great time with it, but I've seen more bad movies of his than good movies. So I'm still kind of like worried that he might not screw the pooch there. But the teaser looks good though. Are you gonna, like, my theory about, I watch the teaser, I don't watch the trailer anymore. But it's Shahrukh, so I don't know. My
I'm
moral-
watching everything. I'm watching everything that
Yeah.
comes out of the Pathan camp, I guess.
Yeah. Every interview, every soundbite, everything. I'm just
Oh, I'm all in for that. Like, especially, we've already said about, doesn't matter what kind of a movie Shahrukh makes, the pre-release publicity rounds that he does is more insightful than anything else that comes out of the industry.
Yeah. And Sujoy, is this confirmed that Hrithik and Salman are going to be in this? Or is this just a
Yeah, there might be a Tiger cameo because this is releasing in January and Tiger comes out in December for YRF. So I think that will be the thing. I'm not sure about the Hrithik cameo. It's not confirmed. It's all conjecture at this point.
Right. But they are
makes sense. Yeah.
they are working towards kind of a shared universe, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And also, like, the cinematography of this is done by a guy called Sachit Polos. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but he's done War as well as like several car commercials and music videos, which like he's up for the job. Yeah,
Same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're looking forward to it. We're excited. We're hyped, and we'll be covering out Khandaan podcast when it comes out end of January, I think, right?
Yeah.
Action seems to be the thing, right? So there's another trailer that dropped, an action hero. Which is actually coming out next month already, quite quick. So this is
Turnaround,
with Ayushmann Khurrana and Palawat, right?
Yeah.
And Jaideep Palawat.
I mean, we had this discussion briefly on Twitter, but it looked very different for an Ayushmann movie to be, doing this. I guess this is his fan in a way, him dealing with fandom as a movie star, and then the repercussions of his actions almost, and then it looks very action packed, as the name suggests, and I'm quite weirdly excited about this movie. I'm not sure if the trailer sold the movie for me to buy a ticket and go straight to the cinema, but I'll definitely be more than willing to check it out when it drops on streaming. But again, it depends. Like if the hype and the reviews are good enough, I'm probably going to.
Yeah. Well, Beth, we were talking about, the release schedule of what movies are coming out and things like that. And we saw this one, and the trailer hadn't dropped then, and we like immediately dismissed it. It was like, who's interested for an Ayushmann Khurrana movie? But then the trailer dropped, and I think there seems to be some buzz about this. What did you think about this trailer?
Oh, I'm very interested. I mean, I think I'd be interested even if it wasn't him, but because it is so different from him, for him, I think I'd like to see that. Like I like his movies. I like the formula that he's been in. I know that he is not popular among all, but I'm glad to see him do something different because I think this could be really good for him. And I think it will just be interesting to see him, mix it up a little bit. And I like a film meta film, so yeah, I will definitely go to the cinema for this. It looks interesting.
Yeah, we got
the only buzz that I heard even before the trailer was revealed was that Akshay Kumar was involved. He was probably having a cameo in this movie, and that was the big selling point that they were pushing it with. So that kind of did not sell the movie for me.
No, that's not a selling point.
Not anymore in 2022.
No.
So we posted this on our Patreon and we got a few comments, so I wanted to read them. So Devansh said, looks good. I hope they don't make it too complicated and messy. Our friend of the show, Paresh, said, nah, this looks too tongue-in-cheek type for me. Friend of the show, Nim, said, I'm really looking forward to this. Both Jaideep and Ayushmann looked amazing and they didn't give anything away about the story. And Viral said, I don't know if this is much different if he's just showing how hard an actor's life is or how popularity depends on circumstances, how things are going to go south with living two different lives and being a youth icon. But let's see. Hope you're right, Asim Bhai. I'm just adding that part because I just love hearing that I'm right. But I mean, I'm rarely excited for Ayushmann movies. I do think his movies are way too up his own ass for me, and it's grating. It's grating for me, and I do feel it's trying to do what Fan did with Shahrukh's movies, and this is supposed to be like Akshay movies, I guess, or Tiger Shroff movies, but like I just think like it's his genre to do like take a twist on it, and I wish he'd just do something straight without doing like a twist on it, without being like highfalutin about it, and just like make an action movie if you want to make an action movie. Like why does it need to be like this complicated like revision and like we're gonna reimagine it and do this and other point of view? But I mean, it works for other people, and I'm not gonna say that he needed to do something a little bit different, but I don't. For me, it's not different enough. It's just the same thing, but in another genre. Like it is the same as Dreamgirl or the same as Vicky Donor, but now it's an action movie. I really liked Article 15, which was just a straight thriller. That's what I would like him to do,
or an Andhadhun, where
Andhadhun straight, whatever.
Oh yeah, so good.
Those movies are the ones I've liked the most, but this doesn't seem to be that one. I'm really excited for Jaideep and his line delivery. I thought it was amazing, that one line he had, like, you don't know anybody, like, you don't know why anybody's here, that kind of thing. I thought that was really well done. But yeah, I'm going to be watching it for sure. And it's also, I think, it's going to come out on Netflix too. So I don't know. I'll probably, maybe if Sujoy doesn't drag me to the cinema, I'll wait and then watch it on Netflix. I'm not sure yet. I'm not 100% not 100% sold on this one, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Sujoy, why is this on my list?
Yeah, why?
Why not? Because variety is the spice of life, and Himesh Reshammiya is the spiciest of them all.
You intro this. I don't want anything to do with this. What are we talking about, Sujoy?
So this is apparently a movie that is being made by Himesh Reshammiya Melodies.
Is it a movie? Is this confirmed that this is a movie?
I don't know. What is life even? Because
what is Butterfly?
It does make you question the aspect of reality and existentialism.
Because it might just be like a campaign for noodles or like chura or something like that. I'm not sure yet. Yeah.
I mean, the budget seems like it. The green screen that is on display. I don't know what the hell is happening. It's apparently a spin-off of his previous movie. And then there is... So we are talking about a movie trailer that dropped called Badass Ravi Kumar. Like, red flag straight away there that he himself calls himself, Badass Ravi Kumar.
Yeah. Koi nahi bolega, khud hi bol do. If nobody else says it, I'll say it about myself.
And the movie trailer has like these PowerPoint text flashing in between, and he's like, it says he's back with his own spin-off. and like dialogues that are so grating, so funny, and okay, I have written this down because I could not believe this, right? He says, तेरे शरीर में इतना खून नहीं होगा जितना रवि कुमार एक बार में मूत देता है. Basically says, your body does not have enough blood as much as Ravi Kumar pisses it out or something like that.
Goodness gracious.
I know. What does that even mean? Does he have a UTI?
Yeah, I think he does, man. I think those hair implants have created some sort of viral infection in him that he needs to get sorted out,
Yeah. So, yeah. And then there is a new song called Butterfly Titliyan that came out for the promotion of this song, which is, usually T-series movies have Noora Fatehi or Sunny Leone doing like the duties of promoting the song with a great item number. But here it's Himesh Reshammiya doing everything. He's like the amalgamation of Tommy Wiseau and Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh. Written, directed, edited, story, music, everything by Himesh Reshammiya. Nobody else matters. He is the Badass Ravi Kumar, if you hadn't gotten the clue by now.
Also, this is not the spin-off of Curse, right? This is the spin-off of his
expose movie,
which was set in the
Expose.
30s, right? Or in the 20s?
I guess. Who saw that movie?
Yeah. Beth, what did you think of this? Whatever this was.
So I didn't. I watched the song, not the trailer, not on purpose, just because I clicked on something. I don't know who needs this. This is. Sorry to be speechless on the audio medium of podcast, but I don't know. As much as some things may not be for me, this is really not for me. But I don't like. So I had to Google. I was like, "What's going on with this?" And there's a very funny piece in the Indian Express that says his threat of making an acting comeback seems real, which is great. And because I'm ancient, apparently, I had to turn here to learn that his I don't know, on Instagram, he's very popular among Gen Z.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, that's why he's doing a thing. Okay. So if he thinks he can ironically, or maybe unironically, knowing Gen Z, reach the youth, then I guess I salute him for not, for trying, but this isn't going to have ironic appeal to me, and therefore I will not be engaging with this. But I just, when was it that he was everywhere? It was like 2004 or something, or 2007.
Yeah, somewhere. That time.
Do you remember that song Aapki Khatir that he did? Yeah. I can't read his name without hearing his super nasally voice just like punching through the atmosphere in that song. And I've never liked his voice. I don't care about the things that he writes. I will not be engaging in this. But, but it does kind of raise the question, if you are an aging movie industry person and you don't seem to be landing with the same success that you used to, what are your options? And one of them is try to make yourself ironically popular.
I don't think he sees the irony, though. He's definitely surrounded by.
I don't think so either.
He's surrounded by yes men who are totally on it. Yes, bhai, let's do this. Yeah. Yes, bhai, you are badass.
But Sujoy, you watch a lot of the judging reality competitions. He's very big there, right? Like he's
very, very popular. Yeah. Very, very popular.
Yeah.
So what kind of, I've literally never watched them. So I don't know, what is he, like a Simon Cowell kind of thing? I just see him constantly crying about how good somebody sang his own song.
Yeah, he's not a Simon Cowell kind of a personality. He's very like his own brand. He is out of this world, larger than life, very emotional, very vocal about things. And then he's a weird concoction, man. There is no Western equivalent or any Indian equivalent even. He's Himesh Reshammiya. He's badass Ravi Kumar.
He's very, very. Should we not comment? I don't know. Should we not comment on what people do to their faces with chemicals and other things? I don't know. But he's older than I am, and he does not look it. He's very smooth and taut. Yeah. I don't know what he's investing in. But,
he's investing in South Korean trips.
Got it.
Did you guys watch that little video that musician on Twitter did? I think his name was Anshuman Sharma. How to make Himesh Reshammiya song in 2 minutes?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you guys. I'll link it in the show notes. It's hilarious because it's so accurate. It's crazy. And the irony of him dropping that video a week ago and then literally Himesh Reshammiya dropping an actual song that's exactly like what the guy had. It's like we don't live in reality anymore. It's insane.
Yeah, I was talking about Twitter on Twitter about the Butterfly Titliya song with a friend of ours, Santosh, and the percussion and the whole sequence that is in this song, it does sound like other Himesh Reshammiya songs, be it like Bodyguard or Chalao Na Naino Se Banre or Jumme Ki Raat Hai from Kick.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably not. It's definitely not going to be for me. I actually never watched the Himesh Reshammiya movie. Not the first one with the cap, not the Curse, not anything. So. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I brought memories back.
I haven't either. I've never seen a film of his.
Yeah. I just remember because the first one with the cap was really creepy because his actress was like 15 years old or 16 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
It was really creepy. Yeah. So this is not going to be for me. Sujoy, you keep us posted on how this goes, yeah?
No, I'm definitely not going to watch this movie for sure. I just, get some glee out of watching 2 minutes of Himesh Reshammiya on my timeline. That's all I can handle.
I will. I mean, now that you're saying this, I feel like if this came out at a time where we were all together and we could all go and have a goofball time at the cinema, I would do that. Like how we keep threatening to have a Race 3 watch along on Twitter before it implodes. Like it has that. I might so bad it's good watch this film, but other than that, no.
Yeah, with the accompanying drinking game associated, I suppose.
Exactly.
But Beth, you are coming to London, right? So we have to do a watch along or something,
London.
right?
Absolutely.
We will be planning. We will let people know when it's happening around Aprilish, something like that, right? Yeah. Tentative date. Let's see. This is not for me, but one thing though, I just like he is one of the top 10 Indian composers, right? Like in terms of popularity. I just wish he made better music.
Probably.
At least deliver like a Chunariya song or a Orni song or something. Like but even that doesn't happen.
I think peak Himesh Reshammiya has definitely faded since like Tere Naam. I think that was the peak of it, or some bits of Hello Brother even, or Pyar Kiya To Darna Kya.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's still in him though, but this is not it. At least it's not it for me, and I'm not Gen Z, so I'm just not the right audience. One movie came out that we wanted to quickly talk about, and unfortunately, I'm gutted I could not finish watching the movie because I only got 30 minutes into Monica, Oh My Darling, and I really, really enjoyed the first 30 minutes, and I just ran out of time before we started recording. But Beth and Sujoy, you did get a chance to finish the whole thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah? Who wants to go first?
Sujoy, you go.
I think I really enjoyed Monica, Oh My Darling, more than Vasan Bala, who is the director of this movie. His first movie that came out a couple of years back called Mard Ko Dard Nahi Hota, which is almost like a homage to action hero movies from Hong Kong and so forth, made into an Indian superhero kind of format. And this kind of pays similar homage to Vijay Anand or the Dev Anand murder mysteries like Johnny Mera Naam or Jewel Thief and Tisri Manzil, all those kind of era of movies that came out in the 60s. And set it in modern times, I suppose, with great actors, great cast. And it's based on a Japanese thriller novel. But all said and done, I think it really did not come together enough for me. It still has that imperfectness of fan fiction rather than a polished product like the movies that is trying to pay homage to. It definitely pays homage to a lot of influences from Vijay Anand to even Sriram Raghavan. It has direct Easter eggs to Johnny Gaddar, and it's trying to make that Johnny Gaddar, but it somehow towards the end, it especially towards the third act, it lost steam for me. And you have to really end strong with a movie like this. And I thought it lacked that punch at the end of it. I really love the performances, but at the end of it, it just didn't hit quite right.
Okay. Beth, what about you?
Oh, I loved the heck out of this movie. I had not even heard of it until you mentioned watching it for the podcast. So I have no idea what Netflix is doing because I log into Netflix every week, right? Like, why did it not tell me about this?
Yeah, crazy, right?
But
I had to search for it even.
And like I follow the director on Twitter. Like, I don't know why I didn't know. I've got to do something. I think I've said this before when I'm on your show. Like, I've got to figure out a way to find out about new films in a more reliable way. But I loved everything about this. It's super stylish. The performances are great. I had just on the Vamps episode of Filmy Ladies said, we were talking about who nowadays would be a good vamp. And I had said Huma Qureshi, not knowing this movie existed. And then I was like, oh, cool. I manifested a great role for Huma Qureshi. I'm very proud of myself. I thought she was wonderful. She's so sultry and interesting. Everyone is, I'm very easy to fool. So all the twists and turns worked well for me. We'll keep this spoiler free, I assume, especially because Asim hasn't seen it. But I did not see any of what was coming. I had pegged someone totally wrong for some of the crimes in the film. Like, I enjoyed everything about it. Rajkumar Rao he is such a strong actor and yet also kind of a blank slate in a way that I find really interesting, because there was something about how he was performing this. I kept thinking about, is there someone else we could have put in this role? And sometimes I thought, yeah, absolutely, anyone could do what he's doing. And I thought, no one could do what he's doing, because he is so adaptable to whatever you put him in. Like I've seen him in movies that I didn't think were good choices for him, but it's never because of him. And he does so many different kinds of things. I'm so glad he was in this. Yeah, I loved absolutely everything about it. And I plan to watch it again once I can, forget a few of the details about it. I strongly encourage anyone who hasn't seen it to definitely, what is it, 2 hours long? It's not super long. Like, clear your schedule tonight and go watch it.
So here's the thing. I watched the movie, I finished the movie, and I quite enjoyed it. But as I said, the climax totally threw me away. I sort of, dissociated with the movie because it did not land that punch at the end. Like, it did not really end well for me. But then I watched the crew and cast interview on Film Companion with Vasan and Radhika and what's his face? Rajkumar Rao, Sikandar Kher, and Huma Qureshi as well. And I think Zayn Marie Khan, who plays Sarika in the movie. And then, what I got out of that interview makes me retrospectively like the movie more, because I understand the process of what went into the making and all the little details and how much they struggled to make it. And, this was like a second lockdown when they started making the movie. So I appreciated it even more about, how they eventually, even during that period, they finally managed to put out a movie of this caliber. But the movie independently did not. I expected more because I loved this genre, and they were, constantly reminded me of Sriram Raghavan's Johnny Gaddar, and that's a way superior movie, I think. So I don't know if I should be comparing. Is it my fault as an audience? But my instinctive feeling after watching this movie was I expected a little more. And I think that's also the kind of feeling I had with Mard Ko Dard. But I definitely like this way more than Mard Ko Dard Nahi Hota.
Oh, you didn't like Mard Ko Dard Nahi Hota?
Not so much, no.
Oh, wow, I love that one. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I think that, Hindi cinema makes so few noir films, and I think you could probably count this as noir, that for those of us who like that, the hopes are so high whenever anyone does one. And it can be, I'm so glad people are trying, even if it's not everything that everyone wants, because, just diversifying the types of movies made is great. It provides all these interesting actors, more interesting things to do. Like, the set design in this was so good. Like, people making these really atmospheric spaces. Like, the music was wonderful.
Yeah, regarding the music as well, what was mentioned in the interview was they really wanted the Asha Bhosle feel, so they did not re-record somebody, did not make Asha Ji remix or something. They just picked somebody who sings at orchestra nights, just sings Asha Bhosle songs throughout their career. They picked her to sing the Ye Zindagi song, which Huma is introduced by. And then somebody who sings Hemant Kumar song or Bhupinder songs on orchestra nights, he sings the other song in this movie, which is kind of like a slow ghazal number. It's such a brilliant way to bring back nostalgia, but recorded in such a pristine, modern sound.
That is so smart.
Yeah, enjoy the heck out of the music, how it was used, especially obviously Monica Oh My Darling is used here, and they did not have a remix version of it. They just let the original song play out, and nobody's dancing to it either. Yeah.
The thing that turned me off a little bit of this movie, because it's like catnip for Indian film Twitter, and that's like an immediate no for me, because it's just not my genre of thing. But I just really, really like Huma Qureshi. And I was talking about this when we were talking quickly about the Double XL trailer, that I really want good things to happen. And then, like Beth, I think I manifested this for her, because before that, she was fighting Akshay Kumar in a bathroom. That's the last thing I saw with her. And so this is much, much better. And just like as a performer, it's so awesome that she has like back-to-back movies where in the first movie nobody wants to bang her, and then in the second movie everybody wants to bang her. That's range. That's what we're talking about, range as a performer. But the thing about Rajkumar Rao, I do wonder, like, and I think this is, Beth, you were talking about this, about being the blank slate, because I do think other people can do what he's doing. Like, I think Vicky Kaushal could very easily do what he's doing, for example, But does Rajkumar Rao actually like the character he plays? Like, as a person, like, does he connect that way? And I think he just has a very different approach to how he picks his character. And it's not maybe necessarily about likability or how he connects with them emotionally. There's some distance there, and that's something that has kind of bothered me about him. But I thought he plays a good douchebag, though, and the part I've seen is just he's just a douchebag in the first 30-40 minutes, and that part he does really, really well. An arrogant douchebag who's actually totally loser, that's the kind of character he plays. And he does that really well.
He's just a hustler from his early days. He just wants to get out of his Angola circumstances, and then every single milestone he achieves, he thinks that he's conquered it, and then life pulls him down. That's the crux of the story,
The Angola joke was funny, though.
It's
funny.
Exotic.
Funny.
The funniest was the who hooks up with an accountant or something like that.
That was so funny.
That's funny. Yeah, that part I did see. So, like, no, I was waiting for my girl Radhika Apte to show up. But I unfortunately, I'm probably going to finish it tonight or before, Twitter ruins everything with screen caps and quotes and stuff like that.
She's having a ball in this movie. I really, really enjoyed her. Yeah. Like all performances, even Sikandar Kher, who I thought would not be great, he absolutely delivers in that scene where he's like scheming out everything, what happens 3 months in the future. Amazing scene. And Radhika Apte is such a wild card in this, like, but I don't want to spoil, but never mind. But I really enjoyed Radhika's performance, at least in the first two, the second, I don't know which acts, I don't know how to describe the segments of this movie, but I really enjoyed pre-climax Radhika.
Let's get into our main review then, na?
Yeah.
ये लोग इंटरनेशनल स्मगलर और इन सबसे ज्यादा खतरनाक और मशहूर मुजरिम डॉन का इंतजार तो 11 मुल्कों की पुलिस कर रही है, लेकिन सोनिया डॉन को पकड़ना मुश्किल ही नहीं, नामुमकिन। अरे दीवानो मुझे पहचानो, जरा पहचानो, मैं हूँ डॉन, मैं हूँ डॉन, मैं हूँ डॉन, मैं हूँ डॉन।
Kicking off our remake season, that's the way I want to start this. We watched Amitabh's Dawn. Yeah, Beth, we asked you, right? And we want to do something.
Yeah, you let me pick, and I was like, "What about Salim Khan movies?" because most of you people listening will know that the 70s Hindi cinema is where my heart lives most of the time. So that's what I chose.
Yeah, and we also, you and me, we've been talking about doing more like Amitabh coverage, right? Like doing an Amitabh. We've been talking about this for years, to be honest, but it's never materialized. Yeah. But it kind of had both of those elements, and then we just added this idea of talking about Pathan and like it's leading to Pathan, right? That's what the season will be, although Pathan is not a remake, but like the Shahrukhs of it. So we want to kind of kick it off with Dawn, a movie that, and also we were talking about it, Sujay, a couple of episodes ago about Amitabh being 80 years old, and there was this whole celebration in India about screening his movies again, right?
Yeah.
What was that part of? Was that a festival or what?
It was, I think, a PVR event where they, like, for a weekend or something, they screened like Abhiman and Diwar and Kala Patthar, and even Javed Akhtar and Shabana Azmi, they were involved in the screenings. And like fans flocked to the cinema to watch all these movies for the first time on a big screen. Like a whole new generation appreciated. I think it was part of the celebration of Amitabh turning 80.
Yeah. And also, Uchai is in theaters now, and it's actually getting pretty decent reviews, I have to say. Yeah. I'm kind of keen to it's piqued my interest in a way. And also, weirdly enough, the soundtrack is actually pretty decent. I was like, I was listening to this. On Apple Music, they have these curated lists of new Bollywood songs, and it just had 3 or 4 Unchai songs, and I ended up listening to them, and I was like, this is actually pretty good. I can't hate on this. And weirdly enough, it also had the Butterfly Titliyan song on. So actually, I had heard the song before you had sent it before. So
don't blame everything on me, no.
Yeah, I can't. Unfortunately, I can't. Yeah. So I don't know. Should we even do a synopsis? I feel everybody has seen the original Dawn, right? No.
I mean, let's not assume. So the IMDb synopsis of Dawn reads, Dawn, a wanted criminal, dies in a police chase. DSP De Silva is the only one who knows about his death, and to get hold of the gang he trains, Dawn look-alike Vijay. But Vijay faces danger from the police and from within the gang.
That's a pretty good synopsis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very brief. Yeah.
I was kind of like looking, like this movie has, like, I think I've told it this, there are at least a couple of pictures of me dressed like Dawn when I was not recent, but when I was like 8 years old, 7 years old, when I was still cute, with, like a headband on my head and like acting like, khai ke paan panaras wala and all that. So this was a staple in my house. So, but it's been so, like, I've watched this movie so many times, and then I really didn't watch it that much. It was really fun to revisit it. So, Beth, thank you for choosing this one or agreeing to do this one.
Anytime.
Because there were a few other names that we floated. I was quite excited about those, but I'm quite happy that we landed on Dawn because it's one of those quintessential Amitabh classic movies, right? I was also surprised to read about the director, Chandra Barot. Did you kind of like research him a little bit when you were watching this?
Yeah, I mean, he's been like in the 70s, he was like the assistant director to Manoj Kumar movies like Pura for Paschim Shore and Roti Kapra Makan. And then he landed this gig to make Dawn for Salim Javed, who wrote the script. But then he kind of disappeared until like he reappeared in the 90s and made really unsuccessful movies. So I don't know where he's now.
Yeah, I think honestly he has had the worst luck ever. Like if you go to the IMDb, there's just tons and tons of movies that he wanted to make. He had a cast ready and they all got dropped. It's insane. I've never seen anybody have that many failed movies in a row. And it just ended up being that he never got. So he had Boss with Vinod Khanna. He had Khunda with Shashi Kapoor. He had Titli with Raj Babbar. He had Master. He had Time with Chunky Pandey. 20 Rupees with Nana Patekar. All of these got dropped, So you can see with the names I'm mentioning, he was really trying from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s to make some movies, and really nothing worked for him, the poor guy. Yeah. And even when they were shooting this movie, Dawn, the producer died while they were shooting the movie, which is insane. Like this, that they managed to pull this off is pretty damn impressive. I mean, we talked about the producer, and you mentioned it quickly, but more than anybody else, next to Amitabh, this is a Salim Javed movie. This is what it's known for, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's also probably why we picked this movie. And it's also interesting to see, I mean, Salim Javed, for people that don't know, are a legendary writing team. And then they kind of split ways. And so, I mean, this is one of those classic angry young man changing Bollywood of what it was to something new. And they managed to do that with so many movies. And Dawn is one of those epic movies, I guess, right? So yeah, Beth, how did you think about, what did you feel about revisiting Dawn after? When was the last time you watched it?
I was trying to remember. I'm sure it's been at least 10 years to have watched the whole thing. I was so happy to sit down with this movie. I love every freaking thing about it. It was such a delight from top to bottom. It's clearly not very high budget. Nobody cares. Everyone's having fun. Everyone is cast beautifully. The like that guy aspect of this film is through the roof. It has Yusuf Khan in it for our content. It has Helen. It has Iftikhar. It has It has prawn. Oh my God. I'd forgotten how great prawn is in this and how the absolute audacity of casting an almost 60-year-old prawn as a tightrope artist, putting him in that wig, putting him in like a puffy sleeve shirt embroidered with his initials with a white belt for the whole film, except when he's in jail. He could not be any less more obviously not walking on a tightrope in the scene where he's carrying children and a cane across a tightrope. Nobody cares. They just lean into the artifice of this, and it's majestic. Like, everything about this movie is top-notch, absurd in the right ways, fun in the right ways. You know, the keep away chase, the keep away game with the book at the end of the film, where they're like throwing everyone who's still alive is fighting in a cemetery. People are falling into graves. Prawn, quote unquote, is doing flips around
with his cane,
like monuments in the cemetery with his cane. There's kids. Zinat Aman is there. Like Zinat Aman, who's clearly not her stunt double, is doing a great job. Like, everything about this is so much fun. And the music could not be better.
What about you, Sir?
Oh man, like, you know, when a movie starts, we usually see the opening screen, like, all characters in this movie are fictitious and bear no resemblance. And this movie starts with mention to only the police characters. It says all police characters and names in this film are fictitious. We don't care about the other characters. They are definitely resembling people who are living or dead, you know? And that's just an epic statement to start this movie. And then, you know, like you mentioned Pran doesn't even show up until like 50-minute mark in the movie. There's so much happening with every single frame of this movie. The hero entry scene of this movie is stuff of legends. Like, the cold open car pulls in, Amitabh's face reflecting in the rear view mirror of the car. What a frame, man. And it just goes uphill from there, you know. It's just action, masala.
For some movies, having an exploding briefcase would be the highlight of the climax of the whole film. This film opens with this amazing stunt, and it, like you said, it just gets better from there.
It's just like the stakes get higher and higher and higher. And then all these people that you know, this is like a wave of nostalgia for me, because all these people like Iftikhar, Pran, Yusuf Khan, and like all of these are involved with my early days of watching cinema at home on my black and white TV. It just brings me back those memories. And this is such a great, like, whiff of nostalgia for people who enjoy the 70s and the peak era of Amitabh Bachchan.
Yeah. It's crazy because we talk a lot about, you know, like, oh, Salman had a good year, Shahrukh had a good year. Shall I read you the movies that came out in 1978, like the top 10, right?
It's probably the best year in Hindi cinema ever, according to me.
Yes, because they're all Amitabh movies, Beth. So it's like number 1, Muqaddar Ka Sikandar. Number 2, Trishul. Number 3, Dawn. Then you have a Dharmendra movie, Azad, La La La. Then you have Swarg Narak from Sanjeev Kumar. Then you have back Amitabh with Kasme Waade. Then you have again Amitabh with Ganga Ki Saugandh. Like, it's all literally Amitabh movies. It's crazy. Like, it's one after the other. Amitabh looks hot as hell. Okay, Beth, I'm sure you're not going to agree with this point, but this is my thing that I'm making. Why does everybody look amazing in 70s clothing when it's Amitabh, but everybody else looks like a dork in those clothing? Like, I don't know what it is. Except Helen.
I think you have to be tall. Yeah. I think that's the trick, right? So the taller actors like Vinod Khanna and Shashi Kapoor is actually not short by any means. Yeah. But yeah, those like wide leg pants, it helps to be tall. Yeah. I think it is. And I know this is an absurd statement to make. I love the 70s so much, and yet Amitabh is not the first person I think of most of the time. That's ridiculous because, as you're pointing out, he absolutely owns at least the second half of that decade. But every time I see him in one of these films, I just sit and think, I get it.
You
I
get
get
it.
why this is the most popular actor of
Yeah.
all time, right? In Hindi cinema. Like he's perfect.
Yeah.
He's absolutely perfect at everything. He can do the, should we call it dancing? Like there is actual dancing by him in this movie, but often heroes at this time still aren't really dancing as such, but he does all of that song movement, for lack of a better word, so well. He does humor, he does action, he does romance. Like he can do everything perfectly well. It's astounding. It's astounding. And if you've never kind of engaged with this, please do, because it's an absolute masterclass.
He's like wearing huge red bow ties. He's wearing yellow glasses. The turtlenecks are too bright. The shirts are too open. Safari suit sales were skyrocketing. Judo and karate were one sport. You know, it's like crazy.
Yeah. and then he does Vijay as well as the pan eating guy who's dancing on the streets outside Gateway of India. He's selling that as well, you know, and not many people can do that. Like when there is a scene in Luck by Chance where in the acting school when Saurabh Shukla plays the acting coach and he's saying, you know, a Bollywood actor has to fight, he has to romance, he has to say the lines, he has to be a horse rider, he has to be a dancer. This is that movie he was referencing to, and Amitabh playing that.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And
speaking, isn't that the same movie where, is that the movie where Mac Mohan gets lines? Yeah. And so like anytime you get Mac Mohan named Mac, that's a good sign, in my opinion. And this movie has that. I hadn't quite forgotten he was in this, but just every time he comes on screen, I just go, yes, yes.
And we also have to say like how probably different it was for just like the Don itself, right? Himself, he's a very unlikable character, right?
Yeah.
Like, although he's very alpha, I mean, he's almost Andrew Tatian to a certain degree, right? Like it's like that level of alpha. And he's like also like he gets killed in the first half of the movie. Like for Amitabh fans who don't know what this movie was about, like who he's playing, this must have been such a shock to go into the cinema and then have, you know, Amitabh killed within the 30-40 minutes and also just be a terrible, terrible human being. Because we when we think about Amitabh, we have that idea of the angry young man, but this is not an angry young man. This is like just a douchebag. Like this is like a totally different thing.
Yeah.
So
he's a bad man.
He's a bad man, and that must have been such a shock for people, right?
Like before.
Was this?
Sorry, go ahead, Beth.
Oh, I was just wondering if this film was advertised as having a double role, because if it was, then obviously you know instantly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Although not exactly how. Like, you know, he's going to be back again, but you would probably not guess that it's the way that it is. So I'm curious if it was advertised.
But did they even have trailers at that time, right? Like, I mean, not like obviously they had trailers, but you would only see a trailer if you go watch another movie, right? Like you would not, they would not be on television. You would probably just get a poster. That's how you probably go. So I imagine it must have been a surprise for people, right? It's not like trailers today that spoil pretty much everything. So yeah, it must have been
what I was pointing out was when you guys said that, you know, Dawn is the bad guy in the first half of the movie, and like the whole concept of the angry young man, and then that to spin it around its own head and to make him the anti-hero. The whole concept of the anti-hero, which became popular in the 90s with Shahrukh or even Sanjay Dutt playing Khalnayak, was born here.
Yeah,
this is the genesis of that in terms of Bollywood cinema.
Because I really can't think of anybody doing it this way, being such a popular hero. I mean, obviously you have transitions. You had like Vinod Khanna, who was a villain at the start and he became a hero. Even Shatrughan Sinha, right? They did that. But Amitabh was a hero. Like he was the main guy, and coming out and being such an unlikable character. I mean, you know, he's sleeping with women. He's like doing whatever he wants to do. He's just like a straight up criminal. He's shooting people left and right. And that must have been quite shocking. And just
that, can we talk about his scene with Helen? Because that was another thing I had, obviously I know the song, but I'd kind of forgotten the dialogue around it. And the fact that he is clearly sleeping with women and is an ass about
Yeah.
it. Like, it's not even like this is the criminal has a girlfriend, which he does, but like she's not even her. Like,
But it's
shocking.
It made me think about sexual morality and how things change so quickly, because Helen clearly, like, they're sleeping together, but he's also blaming her, like, you know, like he's gaslighting her, like, what kind of woman would sleep with me within 4 hours? But he does choose to sleep with her. But then she also has to call her auntie to let her know that she's going to be late. Like, what is going on here? You know?
And just the utter disdain he has for her, but not enough not to sleep with her.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying Andrew Tatian, you know, like Andrew Tatian.
Yeah, no, we all know that. We've met this guy.
And it's also funny, like, Sujoy, you were saying, like, no animals were harmed in this movie, right? But I think some American dolls got mutilated because those contact lenses that Helen is wearing.
Wow.
They look so uncomfortable. Like, it's so bad.
That is a choice, right? That is a choice.
Yeah, because clearly it must have been one of those American dolls in the 70s, because the eyes went to Helen and the hair went to Pran. Because that's...
We are definitely making a reel out of that quote.
That hair is ridiculous.
Oh my God. Yeah.
No.
And like...
I said on Twitter while I was watching, has any actor ever worn more terrible wigs with more dignity than Pran? And the answer is no. He will wear like a spool of yarn on his head as hair, and he still is committing fully.
But did he believe he was pulling it off, or did we, like, the audience, then just believe that this is his hair? Like, what is it like?
This is peak makeup and hair.
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah.
But for the Gen Z people who have like probably not listened to the original Ye Mera Dil, the intro of this track was sampled for the Black Eyed Peas song, and it's impossible to not think of the Don't Funk With My Heart song when Ye Mera Dil starts playing.
Yeah. But I also wanted to talk about, like, because we were talking about Helen, right? And Beth, I wanted to ask you this, you know, like how sexuality changes, right? Like how in the 70s, this was the peak of sexuality, right? Like what Helen is doing, the clothes she's wearing, like she is like the top.
Yeah, probably.
And it's funny because like it kind of probably looks dorky to us now, like younger kids now. And it's weird because like obviously we grew up, maybe, you know, our sexuality was like, you know, 15, 20 years ago, that was when we were at our peak. And, you know, Pamela Anderson at that time was kind of the peak. And now she's like kind of a joke, right? It's just funny how things that people get obsessed about that are like, wow, this is the peak of what we like or we find attractive gets dated so quickly, right?
Yeah. And this one has the extra twist of Helen being a Helen item girl, but also she's a good girl because she's in disguise in this. And so she's beginning to blur that line between what a heroine and a vamp can do that eventually I'm not a scholar of this, I'm a fan, but I would guess that within the next 5 to 10 years, it really is collapsing into one because Parveen Babi and Zinat Aman kind of get to be the heroine, but also be super sexy. So it collapses. And Helen has, as much as she's key to a lot of how we think about women's sexuality in Hindi films, she's got to be part of that too, I'm sure.
And the idea, it's also, I think you hit the nail on the head because it's the idea of the vamp and the heroine, there's always the difference because technically Roma and Helen have the same goal, right? They want to take revenge for Ramesh who dies, but who ends up sleeping with Dawn to get that revenge is the vamp. Roma never sleeps with Dawn, right? Like it's just like a chaste love story, and the love story only starts when she realizes he's not Dawn, he's actually Vijay. That's when she immediately tells him she loves him. So that's kind of like we are on that precipice where things are moving, because I remember really well in Diwar, like Amitabh was also sleeping with women, and that was the love story, right? Because he was the bad guy there, right?
Yeah.
So things are shifting, but we're not there yet.
But she dies, right?
Obviously. Yeah.
So but so Roma does not die.
And also Roma, let's talk about her, right? Like this is a pretty badass role for her too.
Yeah, to get to see a woman train to do judo and karate. And I have to note that the guy who plays the karate instructor here also plays the karate instructor in the terrible but wonderful Mithun film called Karate. I saw him. I was like, it's the same guy doing the same thing. I was so pleased.
Maybe there was just one guy, maybe they just had one guy.
Maybe so.
And he trains Ayan Mukherjee's father in that movie.
Ayan Mukherjee's father?
Yes, he does.
Who's Ayan Mukherjee's father? The director Ayan Mukherjee.
Yeah, director Ayan Mukherjee's father.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everyone take a look at my Mukherjee family tree. I can give it to link in the podcast if you haven't, because these people are also all related. You can have a Mukherjee podcast, no problem.
Good plug.
So like she trains, she instantly becomes an expert, of course. She wears a lot of wigs, also more successfully than Pran, I would say, but and she kind of, there's a lot of scenes where she's kind of just trailing after Vijay Dawn, whichever version of him, but it doesn't matter because she's still there kind of getting into it. And like in Kai Kai Pa, and how she at first she's kind of grumpy, like, hurry up, we're supposed to be running from the police. And then she's like, all right, I'll dance
let's have
too.
a dance.
It's so great.
Looking
She's so
fashionable
great.
in that.
Exactly.
She looks so good.
Yeah. I mean, everyone in this knows exactly what kind of film they're in and exactly how to do it. And I really appreciate that.
I really like. She looks so good in whatever. Like, what's the, I don't know, fashion, but is that a pencil dress or something like that? Like, whatever it is, it looks amazing. She looks amazing, and having fun with in the Kai Ke Panora Sala.
Yeah. Totally.
I do have to say, like, it is funny also to see a movie of that era. And I know, Beth, you live in the 70s. For me, I just visit sometimes, but.
Right.
The analog world is kind of dorky, There is something about this, the dorkiness of it. Like, all of the secrets are in a little red book, and it has the names and the telephone numbers. Oh my God, there it has the telephone numbers.
So
well, I think
this reminds me.
I think I remember reading that this was a very low budget film. And if you're saying the producer died partway through, maybe that's part of what's going on. This film looks cheap, but not sometimes that's distracting. But for me, maybe because this is where I live, like, I don't find this distracting, even though you hold it up to the other movies of 1978 or approximately there, you can tell that it's cheaply made, because the sets are not very full and things like that. But it doesn't detract from me because there's just so much happening that you can kind of make a note of, like, okay, this is in a little book and there's only the one book and no one backs it up. Okay. But it doesn't matter because, like, it's time for another chase scene 2 seconds later after they finish the last one.
This reminds me of a DuckTales episode where there is a map that is stored in the museum and everybody's trying to steal it. But then Scrooge, and like the museum goes down or everything, and then Uncle Scrooge finds out that Goldie has drawn the map in crayon. Good memories.
I also love the fake heel bit, like when it's not Ramesh, but whoever Don kills at the first sequence, and he has a fake heel. And like, I was just thinking, like, how much information can you put in a fake heel? Like, how small do you have to write? Like, it's just like, it has all of the secrets, It's just, but
some of those 70s boots are like big chunky heels, man.
That is true. Like, you could probably put like at least like an encyclopedia and the heels and the collars. Just write it underneath the collars,
No problem.
Oh, I have to remind you guys, when Zinat Aman goes to train with the karate guy, he's like, ये कटीला बदन judo or karate के लिए नहीं, and he tries to flirt with her, and then she slaps him, and he's like, oh, you passed in your first examination.
Like, haha, I wasn't really trying to sexually assault you, it was just a test.
Like that, again, like the nerve of that in the script, and yet it's perfect.
And I also like that, like, they have to like say all of the secrets on like a big ass telephone, like Dawn is in the next room and you're like whispering, yes, Dawn is in the bathroom, bring out the police. It's hilarious to me. Remember scene in Jaane Bhi Do Yaro, like how did people even like? That's the thing that blows my mind. Like the 70s and the 80s were the peak of the spy era. Like people were just dumb, man. Like how can you even take a picture? You need a flash. Like in Jaane Bhi Do Yaro, when he's like taking pictures from outside, he's got this super loud camera with a big ass flash, and people just don't notice like what is going on here. Yeah, I just find it hilarious. These kind of things, I just find it so dorky, but. It is a cheap movie, Beth. I do agree, but I think that they did spend the money well where they needed to spend it.
Agree. Totally agree.
And that was the stunt department.
Chases.
The stunts, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the stunt department. Phew, they earned their pay.
That
and
car
how.
chase at the end of the movie. It is insane, like how well that is shot. Like the speed of it.
Yeah.
They even have a sequence where they're clearly driving a bike with a camera between cars to kind of give an idea of how Don is driving. Like spatially, it makes no sense because ambassador car could never, go in between cars. But the effect it gives is so good. It's really, really well done.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And
I love even just the simple thing of like when Don is, and there's, because the foot chases are also really good in this. And like he's going through the laundry. And obviously lots of movies have done that, but it's so effective.
Yeah.
And my favorite 70s Bollywood trope is the all-encompassing escaping somersault. Whenever you're surrounded, you just do a somersault and you're like 3 buildings up high and you're fine. You just keep running. I love that.
And it's shot in reverse, so that rewind it. It's amazing. Anti-gravity boots. But
also,
the suspense of when Don finally gets into the car of Iftikhar, right? And then he's like, don't turn around.
Yeah.
And then Iftikhar is trying to find out and figure out his next move. And then he makes that stunt of, he makes that gamble of, finding if he's dead or not.
Yeah.
What an amazing scene. Such a thrilling edge of the seat experience I had. The background score, man. Oh, so good.
Oh, it's great. Do you, either of you remember the first time you saw this, or did you just grow up with it so much that you don't really remember?
It's all a blur. I don't know if I watched the whole movie the first time, how many times I've seen, where have I seen it, or it's all a blur. Like I've watched this all throughout my life. It feels like, everything everywhere all at once.
We used to have these, they were called Geet Malas. They were like video cassettes with just songs from Amitabh movies. And Khai Ke Pan Bananas Wala was like the one that I would watch all the time. And I think it was the song first, then the video cassette with the dialogues, and then the movie. So it took me a while. And I don't even know if I actually watched the entire movie because you're a kid, you're just running around. I'm going to copy this part and copy that part. One thing I have to say, like this, like, I've talked about my my uncle that passed away, who was like a comedic genius. But in Khai Ke Pan Bananas Wala, he used to have this joke. You have all of the background actors, right? Like that are dancing with him. He would just like randomly say, like, the fat guy with the tummy. Yeah. And he was like, oh, he would say to my sister, oh, look, you're on screen, Bushra.
Oh, shit.
And he would just keep doing it. There's another guy with like a mustache and like floppy hairs on the side. He would go, oh, you look like that guy. It's you on screen. And he would just not stop until somebody would cry. Like it was just hilarious. We were like 8 or 9 or like too small, but it's just that memory was like kind of like etched in my brain, like, oh yeah, this is how young I was and how much fun this song was. Do you guys ever think when you watch Iftikhar or A.K. Hangal, if these men were ever young? Like, were they just born old, or were they ever young?
Yeah, that's the joke. My friend, my like cousin, who also says like Raj Kapoor was born old.
Yeah, but Aishi Buddha.
But Iftikhar, like him, and what's the other guy? Jagdish Raj. Like obviously, Jagdish Raj holds the Guinness Book of World Records for playing the maximum number of roles as a cop. But these two are like born to be on-screen cops and nothing else. Like no other uniform fits them.
Although
So there is an amazing 70s film called Gadar with Vinod Khanna, and then like 7 or 10 of these character actor guys who are all fantastic, including Ranjit, Iftikhar, and Pran, and a whole bunch of them. And Iftikhar and Pran play like the double, like the leaders of this gang of thieves that makes up this movie. And they are so good together. They are so funny. They're not police officers in that film. They're actually criminals, but like same vibes in a way, right? They're the seniors leading this group of criminals. And if people haven't seen that film, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's really a film just for the character actors, which you almost never see them getting to do as much, and they really are the stars of the film. And it's so fun. It's like a heist, and then they're having to hide out in the mountains in the snow. And there's a traitor, you know, all that kind of stuff, as the title suggests. And it's so, so good. And I just kept thinking about that when I was watching this, because I love seeing those two together. They don't have much time together in this film, but they're, you know, again, like these people who know exactly what they're doing and are having fun doing it is such a joy to watch.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, like, we can talk a little bit about the supporting cast too, right? Like, you know, Iftikhar is in there. We also have the guy that's Zibisco is in this, you know?
Yes, Yusuf Khan.
Yeah.
Yusuf Khan.
Yusuf Khan.
Zibisco gets his ass handed to him by Roma, like really badly, which was amazing. I love
And
seeing
MB
that.
Shetty as Shakal.
Yeah.
Shetty, we love him. We loved him.
Yeah, he's...
And he has a couple of great like eye rolls when Amitabh is taunting him. He's like,
Then you have the ever so negative energy of the screen, you know, whenever he shows up, Satyan Kapoor as the inspector, who does not get any hints.
Yeah. No spoilers.
That's why he's like the initial, disclaimer about all police names are fictitious is about Satyan Kapoor.
Yeah.
You mean Anand Babu?
Oh, is it Anand Babu?
I just call him Anand Babu Chore, you know?
Okay, from Diwar.
Yeah. I also love Narang in this, you know, played by Kamal Kapoor. Yeah, he's great because he's basically the HR guy, right? Like,
HR guy in a gangster.
Yeah, he's the HR guy. Yeah, he's like he's in charge of recruitment. He does Ramesh's security interview. He does Roma's recruitment. He tries to recruit Pran. Then he gives him a raise, and then Pran joins in. You know, so good HR guy. You know, just generally.
But the main villain Om Shiv Puri.
Yeah,
I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming when I first saw it.
Yeah. I think it was a big shock for a lot of people, I imagine, right? Like, yeah.
Because he usually plays
That's one reason I was asking you.
usually plays the benevolent uncle always, right?
Yeah.
And he's like Interpol officer.
That's one reason I was asking you if you'd remembered when you'd seen this originally. Because I since I watched this as a full-grown adult for the first time, I was like, it's such a good. And we won't say much. I know you're going to do the Shahrukh version, but the fact that they were able to keep suspense and do something different with this film is a real hats off to those writers also.
Yeah. We're explicitly not talking about the Shahrukh version because we will be doing a separate episode, but I think it definitely has a lot of talking points. I want to also give out a shout out to Arpana Chaudhary, who was playing Anita.
Yeah.
I thought she was great in this.
She
also
really
love
good.
like she's very much committed to headgear. Like it's quite elaborate thing she's wearing on her head, and it's quite cool. Like
I'm looking her up in IMDb because that's not a name that I didn't remember her name whatsoever. She's in 70 some films, and I've clearly seen her in other things, but I can't. This is the only thing I think of when I see her face.
Yeah.
Why is she credited to Maula Jat?
I have no. Yeah, I'm seeing it too, and but I don't know which Maula Jat this even is.
1990.
The Pakistani Maula
I'm
Jat.
not sure.
Interesting.
No, maybe not. This is one with Dara Singh in it.
Oh wow! Did they remake Maula Jat in India? Like,
wow!
Is that what's happening?
And Bob Christo is in it. We have to watch. I have to watch this. I won't speak for you. I have to watch this.
Wow.
Okay,
Yes.
you have on the poster. Bob Christo is trying to choke a woman with a gun in his hand, and he's wearing a Minneapolis T-shirt. That's the poster of Maula Jat, of this version of Maula Jat.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Literally never heard of this. Okay, Rana Jang Bahadur.
Yeah, there's Raza Murad, there's Tina Ghai,
Raza Murad.
all legends, man. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I see these names. I'm just like, yeah, I'm watching that as soon as I possibly can.
But coming back to Dawn, I asked this on Twitter saying, which is your favorite song from the soundtrack? So I could only list 4. There's Ye Mera Dil, Khai Ke Paan Banaras Wala, Jiska Mujhe Tha Intezar, and the title track, Main Hu Dawn. What is your guys' pick?
First of all, before we get into that, can I just say that these songs have no subtext whatsoever. All of them just straight up tell you what the character is trying to do. Like Jiska Mujhe Tha Intezar is the happiest I'm gonna kill you song. You know, Roma's not hiding anything in front of everybody, and it's a bop. I mean, there is no double meaning. I don't know if you've on Twitter, you've seen that little boy that sings, "I'm gonna kill my mom, I'm gonna kill my dad."
Oh God.
That's what this is basically. Roma is like, "I'm gonna kill you, Don." Like, I just thought that was hilarious. Yeah, Beth, what is your favorite song? I'm guessing it's the Helen one.
No, it's not actually. If you'd asked me before I rewatched it, I would have said Khai Ke Paan. But then this time it's the title song. That's just so fun. And watching Amitabh cut loose, like, it's not quite My Name is Anthony Gonzalez, but it's got that same energy to me. And watching him kind of prance around the room, and he's got the tiger mask, and like, just, it's so much fun, and all the backing, you know, all the people in the room clapping along and dancing along. Like, you can watch the women waiting their turn to do their little steps with him, and like, but I also find it musically extremely catchy. I was singing that to myself all day yesterday, and as we know, I do not really speak Hindi, so it's an extra treat to hear me sing these things. But like, all day long, I just
kept thinking, imagine if this was a real criminal organization, like the head of the organization is having a jig, and everybody's really into it. It's like, yes, Don, like, shake a leg. I'm like, you know, Narang is happy, Mac is happy, you know.
You know, but like, how did Monica Oh My Darling open? It has the organization having some kind of corporate party with an item number in it for reasons. Like, we're still doing this.
You know, Alibaba's CEO Jack Ma is famously known to be dancing at his annual meetings with like item songs and everything. So, yeah.
What about you, Sujay? What was your favorite song?
Khai Ke Paan Banaras Wala, man. It's such an iconic song with a choreography is so iconic that, you know, people do this at every single dance reality show and try to do, you know, justice to it. That's like, it's so iconic and ingrained with the Bollywood pop culture. I mean, not that Ye Mera Dil is not, but Khai Ke Paan Banaras Wala is just up there.
Yeah, I'm with you, because it just transcends just a song. It's like a cultural moment. It's also, the thing is with Amitabh, like, what he did is, like, I just don't think any other actor, hero did this, is that having that mix of comedy with the song or comedy with the action. Like that fight sequence where Vijay finally finds like a gandasa and like a pole, and he starts hitting people with it. And he's like, "Oh, I used to be a wrestler in my old town." You know, that's a line he says. And it's just like, as a kid, that was the success of Amitabh. Like, having that comedy fight was like a staple for him. And I just loved it so much, because it was never, you know, it was just not just violence. It was just funny, and he would win. And it would, I just love that. I love that. Yeah. So yeah, again, with Khai Ke Banaras Wala is the other aspect of Amitabh, having that comedy with the song, you know, the whole, like, also the supporting cast is like that guy with the big belly and he's shaking the belly on the beat. It's just such an amazing visual. Like, it's like, it's burnt in my mind. I love it. I know a lot of times I'll just rewatch the song and watch everybody else except Amitabh, you know, like, it just, that's how fun that song is, you know. I love it. Yeah. Any other sequences or things that you want to call out, Beth? Anything else that we didn't cover that you want to talk about?
I mean, there's no specific one, simply because it's every single one. Like, I kept rewinding to rewatch things, either because they were funny or because there was dialogue I had missed, or because I was just so enchanted by how they did something in a chase, or, you know, there was I love tracking all those 70s locations and like the hotel or all the hotels that they're in or the rooms that they're in, or just something amazing would happen and I would want to rewatch it. So it's just this fantastic collection of fantastic things.
This wall-to-wall carpeting
Like,
everywhere.
Yeah. It is wall-to-wall fantastic to me.
So, Joy, any sequence or anything you want to call out?
The final fight scene. It's wild as fuck.
Oh,
Because this is a time of no visual effects. Everything is in camera, and to do that involving the actors that were involved in those scenes and, fast zoom action to, smoothly transition from the stunt actors to the actual actors trying to kick ass, with both Pran with his cane and Zinat Aman, stunt woman or man.
Definitely a man. That's definitely not a woman.
Definitely a man. Yeah,
so many somersaults. So many somersaults.
Broad-shouldered man, even.
Yeah. So like that action scene, like I had to watch that twice. I was like, oh my God, I don't remember this to be this wild,
I thought it was actually the same wig Shahrukh is wearing in Pathan that Zinat Aman is wearing. Like, it's hiding a body double with the same wig, Like, I love it because the whole pacing of this movie is so quick. Like, it's such a fast-paced movie. And the final fight is just the crescendo of it, Like, first of all, like, Pran's acrobatics. Like, why would a cemetery have parallel bars? I don't know, but it does. This one does, He's just like, all the villains are just coming in a line and he's just like drop kicking them one after the other. Like, insane. And then, like, every time they throw the red diary, like, they add this soundtrack of a whistle and they keep doing it for like the whole final
slide whistle.
Yeah. But also because it's the climax. Before you had the car chases and all the actions, the music was thrilling because it's the climax and it's the hero that is winning. You hear a Shehnai version of Khai Ke Paan Banana when they're fighting.
Yeah. And also the way it's shot, because, okay, there are lots of quick cuts, but there are sequences where there are 3 fights happening at the same time, and the camera goes from one fight to the other fight, and it goes back and forth, and then there's a quick cut, right? Basically, it's like Aamir Khan when he was narrating the football match in Andaz Apna Apna with the that's how the pacing of the sequence is. Like,
oh my God, we can't live without the Andaz Apna Apna.
Has to be. I have to squeeze it in this some way. And like it's insane, and it's just like such a perfect end. This movie is amazing, and it goes by so quickly. It's not a short movie, right? It takes its time, but it goes. It's just the pacing. Like every moment, something is happening, and it's pretty darn amazing.
By the way, bringing back Mola Jet references, this movie was remade in Pakistan with Sultan Rahi.
Oh dear.
And it was called Cobra.
Oh.
Cobra. But it was remade a lot of times, right? It was remade as Billa. It was remade as
Shobraj in Malayalam and like Yugandhar with NTR.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of those? Because I haven't, and I want to.
I want to watch Billa, but I haven't been able to. And like Helen plays Kamini in that as well.
Yeah. Well, why do I also feel there's probably like somewhere a Nigerian version of this, like Nollywood version of Dog?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
It's one of those stories that can be remade very easily, and it has a lot of high concept, but it is low budget in a way, right? So, it's really literally one of the perfect movies that still stands the test of time. Like, I wish I could have seen this on a big screen. BFI, make it happen, please. I'd love to watch this. Yeah.
Oh my God. Please do.
So I think we can wrap it up, right? Like, I think we all agree this was an amazing watch. We had so much fun watching this, right?
For sure.
Yes.
Thank you again, Beth, for picking this one. It was so much fun.
I'm so glad you wanted to watch it.
I don't think there was much discussion. We were done. Dawn, okay, let's do it,
Yeah.
Beth, where can people find you online?
Well, I'm Beth Loves Bolly on Twitter, but please come and check out the Filmy Ladies podcast if you haven't, which is YouTube / at Filmy Ladies, or Twitter and Instagram Filmy Ladies.
Are you also uploading it on iTunes, or is it just YouTube at the moment?
Yes, it's on iTunes and Spotify too.
And would you prefer people leave a comment and a like on YouTube or a review on Apple?
We're trying to get comments onto YouTube because Pitu and I are both, as are you both, like from the blog generation, and we miss the conversations that used to happen. So we're really hoping that we can try to get some conversations built up in the YouTube comments for now. So if you feel comfortable commenting there, please do. Pitu reads all of them, and we she's in charge of responding mostly because I do the tech stuff, quote unquote. But yeah, please comment there, and we would love to see you.
Sounds good. Like, I watch them when I can, and they've always been great episodes. So check out the Filmy Ladies for sure. Sujoy, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok at 93K. And you can also check out the Khandaan podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Khandaan Podcast.
Great. I'm at Asim Bernie. Drop us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com. Leave us a review. Become a patron. Support our work. You can become a patron from $1 and get access to really cool extra content. So I know Beth is a donor too, right?
I am a Patreon patron because there's just no other podcast like yours. And every week, I just am so happy to spend that time with, because I feel like I'm with you when you're talking about things, even if I haven't seen the film. Like, it's so much fun. Please join the Patreon.
Yeah, there's a lot of lovely discussions happening. Everybody's super lovely. It's a safe space. And I think sometimes we do longer stuff, sometimes we do shorter stuff, but it's really fun. I really appreciate everybody that is a Patreon and everybody that can be a patron. It's $1, and it supports everything that we get, we use to grow the podcast. So I think it's kind of a good goal. But yeah, this is it for this episode. Thank you, Beth. Thank you for joining us. This was so much fun, and we'll be back. Next episode will be the Shahrukh Khan version of Dawn. So it's going to be fun again. Thank you for listening.
क्या बोलती